Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into something pretty intense, a deeply personal forensic log. It's this incredibly detailed account of what one person claims was a coordinated attack, both medical and digital. And let me tell you, this is way more than just a diary. It's a security protocol for a life they believe is under siege.
So let's just jump right in with a quote from the source material that, honestly, it's pretty chilling. This one line sets the stage for the whole story. It frames everything as this high-stakes performance, an illusion that's been carefully crafted to manipulate reality itself.
Okay, so to really get what's happening here, we have to start with the narrator's defense system. It's not just a bunch of notes, it's a formally declared protocol they call the TruthCore Record.
And you really got to pay attention to the wording here. This is not a journal. The narrator defines it as a formal security protocol. It even supposedly includes something called a counter-tamper cryptographic addendum. They're basically treating their own life and their own memory like a secure system that needs a firewall to protect it from attack.
The heart of this record, the event that kicks this whole thing off, all centers on a very specific period of time when the narrator was involuntarily hospitalized at a place called Mercy Hospital.
So check this out. The whole incident goes down over just a 4-day window in early 2026. The narrator is admitted against their will, their devices are immediately taken away, and they claim they were subjected to medical procedures that were totally undocumented and deeply suspicious.
And for somewhere between 72 and 94 hours, we're talking 3, maybe 4 full days, their entire digital life, their computer, their phones, all of it was completely out of their hands. This is the window of time the log calls the black box.
Okay, so the big question is, what was happening to these devices during that time? Well, the log describes a situation it calls the hardware hot potato. And yeah, it suggests a major breach in the digital chain of custody.
The record gets super specific here. It claims to have evidence of remote manipulation that happened while the hardware was supposedly locked away. We're talking key video files just gone, wiped clean. Forensic logs that show keystrokes and file changes the narrator obviously couldn't have made. And maybe the wildest part? They say they begged the staff to just power down the devices, and the staff refused, essentially leaving them on as open portals.
And just when you think the story can't get any stranger, it absolutely does. The log starts to frame the medical staff not as, caregivers, but as a recurring cast of actors. The narrator literally calls them a commedia dell'arte crew, as if they're all part of some traveling play. And in this, let's call it a cast, one character really stands out. This person is identified by a very distinct and, according to the logs, a repeating behavioral signature. The narrator gives him the name Dr. Sing Song.
So what's this doctor's whole deal? Well, the log breaks down this specific psychological tactic he allegedly uses. The claim is that he uses this high-pitched, patronizing, sing-song voice on purpose to provoke a defensive reaction. So what happens? The narrator shuts down the conversation, a totally normal response, right? But then that shutdown gets officially written down in the record as the patient being uncooperative. It's like a perfect little trap designed to create a weaponized paper trail. And get this is where it all starts to look less like a one-off incident and more like a pattern. The log alleges this wasn't a one-time thing. The exact same person, using the exact same routine, was supposedly present during a previous hospitalization at a completely different facility. For the narrator, this was proof. It wasn't random, it was a coordinated roadshow.
So, the alleged sabotage wasn't just digital. The log details a shift to a direct physical attack, and it all revolves around a simple styrofoam cup of what was supposed to be apple juice.
So here's how the sequence allegedly went down. First, the cover story. The staff says they're giving them Ativan, just as standard sedative. But instead of a pill, they bring this cocktail of 3 to 4 different pills, all crushed up so they're impossible to identify. Then they hide it, delivering the whole concoction in an opaque cup of juice. The result? The narrator wakes up, in their own words, groggy as fuck, feeling the physical side effects of who knows what.
This one sensory detail is logged as a crucial piece of forensic evidence. The narrator remembers the apple juice smelled milky. Now, why does that matter? They believe it points to a milky medication suspension, maybe something like a liquid antipsychotic being deliberately masked by the juice.
And it wasn't just the juice. The narrator also logs refusing 2 large potassium pills. Knowing that high potassium can cause a cardiac event if your body doesn't need it, they saw this prescription as just another trap, an attempt at what they call potassium engineering.
So you have all of these alleged attacks coming from all sides. digital, psychological, biochemical. It all leads to the narrator's ultimate defense mechanism. I mean, how do you possibly keep your grip on what's real when it feels like everything is designed to make you question it?
And that's the fundamental question the log is grappling with. When your digital files are being messed with, your biological state is being tampered with, and your own reactions are weaponized against you, how do you find true north? How do you know what's real anymore?
The narrator has this pretty powerful term for their own resilience, a self-righting vessel. It's like a boat that's designed to flip back upright no matter how big a wave hits it. It's this idea that their own mind and body have an innate ability to eventually clear out the chemical fog, see the manipulation, and return to a clear, baseline state of awareness.
And this right here, this is the absolute key to how they do it. To calibrate that vessel, the narrator maintains a connection to what they call an immutable source of reality. It's described as a physical scenario that just never, ever changes. It acts as their master hash, a constant that they can check all other distorted sensory input against to see if it's real.
This one quote really captures the entire thesis of the log. For the narrator, any medical intervention that didn't have a clear diagnosis wasn't treatment. It was an indictment. It was an attempt to plant false biological evidence to support a false narrative.
And that really leaves us with a final thought from all of this. This log details one person's extreme system for verifying truth in what they saw as a hostile environment. But in a world that's increasingly filled with deepfakes and all kinds of data manipulation, it poses a much broader question for all of us, doesn't it? What's your anchor? What's your immutable source of reality?